Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Heritage TV. Today we are focusing on Ghana's election 2020. The election is in December, and with me, I've got one of the independent aspiring presidential candidates, Mr. Marricke Gane. Hello, Mr. Marricke Gane.
Hello, Vicky. How are you? Good afternoon.
I'm good. And you?
I'm alive and well by the grace of God, so we can only be thankful.
I guess you've been so busy with interviews here and there.
It's become part of the terrain, so we signed up for this, so it's all well and good.
Wonderful. Okay. Mr. Gane, the first time I saw you was on Marricke Gane's platform with the slogan "Ghana for President." So that was when I started following you. Which part of Ghana do you come from? Which tribe do you come from in Ghana?
It's interesting when I get asked this question because that makes me sound like I'm endorsing, one tribe over another. So I usually like to say I'm very, very Ghanaian. And I think, well, I grew up. I was born in the Jolica public hospital. I grew up in Keta, the Grand Fisherman. So I grew up as a fisherman with fish in the lagoon and in the sea. And also sold what we call second-hand clothing with my grandma, also in Keta, growing up. So that's a little bit about my childhood growing up. I attended secondary school, and then after that,
The reason why Mom said this is because, when somebody wants public office and is based in the diaspora, doesn't live in Ghana, people are thinking, does this person really know much about Ghana? Because sometimes they feel maybe the person was born in Ghana but had his schooling and all his, teenage to adult life abroad. So when this person all of a sudden decides to stand for president from his birth country, people keep asking questions. What does he know about Ghana that he wants to, run for public office? So hence my question to you about, growing up so that everybody knows, you were born in Ghana and grew up in Ghana. Yes.
Can I just say, Vicky, can I just say that you made a point there which is actually quite incorrect. And the truth is that I haven't been living in the UK for a long time now. I left the UK almost, I think, 4 to 5 years ago. And I spent a bigger part of my working career and growing up in Ghana anyway. So, no, I am not in the diaspora. I have been part of the diaspora, but I haven't been part of the diaspora in a long while. So I've been on the ground working in the last number of years to get ready for this.
Wonderful. Okay. Mr. Marricke Gane, can you tell us what do you think, you can change? I mean, if you want to change anything in the country, why do you want to be president to impact the changes? Why do you want to be president in the first place? And more so an independent president?
Well, for a number of reasons, Vicky. We've run the party system for a while now, at least in the last 28 years. We've all seen as Ghanaians that hasn't worked because, unfortunately, the way we see sort of politics is that it works as a family. And unfortunately, in the last 28 years also, unfortunately, state, which which is full of institutions, which is focused on people or servicing people. We've run all of that, though we are running political parties. So you find people go into government in one largely because they simply belong to a party that won power. It is never about separating after the power has been won or has been won. There is no separation to say, you know what, yes, we did win the seats, but now it's serious business. We need to get into the business of running a state. That has never been the case. So you find all these people within a party, capable or incapable, as long as you've been the one of the people who made the most noise, as long as you've been one of the people who have given the most during the election campaign, you automatically move into the business of running the state. And that is where the states have started collapsing, because we have a lot of people in the process of running states that are either incompetent or have no idea how to do its organizations themselves. And so the reason why I'm running for independence is to sort of, I'm pretty much trying to reset the button here with what we're doing, is to show Ghanaians that, there needs to be a number of independent thinkers who can come in and put Ghana first, because once you're in a party in the Ghana system of politics, the priority is what the party needs. The priority is what the people within the party want. It is never about putting country first. And so what we are doing, even though we say I'm an independent candidate, the real agenda here is to make sure we are able to bring a lot of other independent thinkers who can say, I don't care about your party. My whole agenda is about Ghana. And so it's about ensuring that we start to bring meritocracy back to the system of governance. That's the reason why I'm running as an independent candidate. You also asked the question about why I'm tall. Vicky, the truth is that we've been at this for 27 years. Nothing major has changed. And I can give you statistics. If you take health, for example, in 2000, our life expectancy of 7 years. Rwanda's life expectancy was about 47 years. Line in 2019, our life expectancy is 64. Rwanda has been to genocide, done a war, started recovering, and come back. And today, their life expectancy is almost 70, which is a huge gap. And so that's just health. We really now have a funeral economy and not a health system. You take education, for example. All that our young people are learning in school is theory. There is really no bridge, no connection with the theory they are learning and what industry requires of them. What we are saying we want to bring and change is we need to start introducing practice. We need to start making the classroom reflect what is required in industry. We need to teach our young people entrepreneurship so that when they come out from school and nobody wants to employ them, they would still have been skilled enough to start something of their own. We want to teach our young people competence so that you are not interviewing somebody after they've come out of school and you actually start thinking whether they've actually been to school in the first place. So there are a number of things. We talk about culture. 4 years ago, agriculture was, contributing about 40% to our GDP. Today, agriculture is contributing only between 18 and 20% to our GDP. These are things that we should have concern about. My reason why I am running is quite simple. If we don't change the way things are, this country would have gone back another 60 years. I'm running for office.
Okay, because all these things you've been mentioning, the two major political parties have also been talking about these things. So we are wondering what Kofi Gane can do differently as compared to what these two parties have been talking about all this while, education, agriculture, to name a few.
Well, I don't think at this stage we should be even asking the question what these two parties can do, because they've shown us that they can only take us backwards. They've proven that in the last 27 years. And so for me, the question can never be any more about what they intend to do. They've had 27 years to prove, and they have not been able to do that. And so, personally, I say to Ghanaians, we should start even asking questions about whether the NDC or the NPP can do what they are claiming we're going to do. Um, Now, maybe you haven't, but one of the first things you realize about our manifesto, which we issued out a couple of weeks back, in fact, we get so first before even the major political parties. What you see in our manifesto is that it shows a high level of efficiency in delivery. We are the only manifesto who have put cost items to what we are saying we will do. But Ghanaians can hold us accountable and say, why did you spend excessively more than what you said we would do? Or how can you prove why you spent excessively? All the other manifestos, for example, do not have numbers. They don't tell you how much they're going to spend. They don't even tell you how to judge them on their deliverables. These are all things we are trying to let Ghanaians understand that look, there are people who are competent enough, who can deal, who are willing for you to hold accountable. So in everything we are doing, we bring to the table a number of things that is crucial for this country right now. We bring integrity.
Okay.
Integrity
Mr.
to this
Gane,
process.
okay. Yeah, please go on. Please go on. Sorry about that.
I was just going to add that we also bring accountability to this process. I mean, I have been all my life. I've been an accountant all my thing I always ensure happens, even within my team that I'm working with now, is that every money that gets spent is accounted for. That every money we have to spend, we're trying to find out what is the best possible way to make sure we get the most value. These are things that I have done in my life. So I don't intend to change right now. So we are bringing a totally different agenda to the process. And the biggest thing for us in all of this is that, Vicky, I have never been part of any of the political status quo that we want to change. I've never been part of the NDC. I've never been part of the NPP. And so we actually do have the political will to see the things that need to be changed.
Oh, okay. Mr. Gane, do you agree with me that we need more women in public office? What will your government do to make sure that women are properly represented? I know in your manifesto you included provision for free menstrual pads for girls under 20, just to mention a few, and health checks for people and 50 years and above. What can you promise women? Because I'm very passionate about that. And even in
We actually have a lot.
in Parliament, I want us to be, to have, our presence in Parliament. Very, very important. What can you say to women?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're offering something more than just getting people in Parliament. And the reason that is the case is, when it comes to Parliament, the political parties also have a major role to play in ensuring that they either create the environment for women to be a lot more involved in getting into Parliament. And so it can be a one-way affair. We would do what we can, but I think there are other critical things we have said we would do in our manifesto. One of the things we want to do also is to ensure that I don't know if you're aware, but in around 2010 to 2012, there was a constitutional review.
Okay.
One of the recommendations from that constitutional review was that at least 30% of employed in office within the public sector are women. And I am committed, and we've been committed by this in our manifesto. So if you look at the section on the institutional reform, we have actually put it there. Black we are committed to ensuring that we push for that recommendation to be implemented. Just one thing. The other thing we want, and this is just the minimum of 30%. So it could be more, it could be way more than 30%. The other thing we have said we would do is, people talk about women have a glass ceiling and that they need to break in order for them to. I say, beyond the glass ceiling, there's also a skill ceiling that has been put there from using policy and the rest, and this needs to start. And so one of the things we're doing is that we have a program we're going to run where in every region of this country, we would, I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's five, between 3 and 5, every 3 years. There is women, for that matter, from each of these regions, the best performing women, either from right from school or from national service or whatever the area might end up to be. But we want to pick up 5 or best, 6 or 7 or whatever the number is from each region. They're gonna get on a program, a very specific program that is structured to ensure that after you have gone through that program, and it's going to be not just an academic program, it's going to be an element to it. It's going to be on understudy elements, which is why it's going to be. The idea is simply that we want to start raising the best managerial skills. So we want a situation where by the time you come out of line of study, that line of program, that specific program, you would have been a world-class director material. You would have been a world-class management material. So that we don't continue to have this situation where when you ask men, why didn't you bring that woman on board as your board director, as your deputy or whatever? They tell you, oh, we wanted to, but exposure, they don't have the experience. We are saying that we would make women and we will help women create that exposure, create that experience, create that mindset or that knowledge base so that there is no excuse anymore why they are not getting into positions of decision making.
Well said. Mr. Gane, have you got your vice president? And if you haven't, what is the criteria of the selection of a vice president? Is it, like people say, sometimes they want to balance it when it comes to tribalism. So the criteria, is it, gender equality? Maybe you are thinking of having a woman as vice president, or probably you would like to have a northerner as vice president. What is the criteria if you already don't have a vice president?
The question is in such a manner that if I answer the question, it automatically means I don't have a vice.
Oh, wow.
But, but what I will say to you is that there are a few things we have looked at.
Just say that you do have a vice president. But
no, what I can say to you, Vicky, is that we will be announcing this we have a specific timetable we're working with, and we are neither delayed or not on that specific time. I think we plan all of this from the very start to when we even put out our manifesto, all that of the timetable. So there's nothing for people to worry about. We cannot just leave a race without a vice president candidate. There will be one announced. We're very specific about our timing. But say quickly, one of the things we look out for.
Wonderful. Okay.
Is that one?
Yes, Mr. Gane, go on, please.
Right. So a few things looked out for is that we've asked that whoever it is must have some understood two things really. Must have a high level of discipline, but must also have an understanding of how the world works. Because for so long we've operated as a country as though we are isolated from the world, and we need people who understand that where we are at now globally, make it in anything unless you are really connected to the rest of the world. So we do need people who have a very clear understanding of how the world works, and therefore how we can plug ourselves into it. But we also need people who understand things like technology. I'm talking about proper understanding of where technology is leading us and how we need to leverage all of that. So domestically, yes, we are looking at some form of balance. There always has to be some form of balance. I mean, I come from the beginning. I think it'll be, no matter how competency plays, we'll be speaking a lot by going to pick another person from the box. I mean, it doesn't augur well for consideration of balance. And so these are basic things we've been looking at. Somebody asked me, "Is there consideration about religion?" No, I think things are key. Some things are also very personal. You can't choose, the whatever the spiritual direction that somebody should take, and it shouldn't be a reason why they fail to qualify for office or anything of the sort.
Mm, mm. All right. And Mr. Ghani, I keep wondering. We have two major political parties in Ghana, and when it comes to financing their campaigns, they've got so much support. I'm thinking,
Mm.
you campaigning independently, how are you able to finance your campaign?
I think the ordinary Ghanaians like you and me have been financing whatever we've been doing to date. Um, I mean, from the
But would
very
that be enough?
get-go, by the way, I'm not a rich man, but from the very get-go, I'm a very and very down to earth. I just take my work seriously. But from the very get-go, every day people like self and others who are watching this part of funding this. Look, and it doesn't take much. Um, Somebody can, well, here's my 10 cities, here's my $10, here's my 10, so here's my £10. That's what I have to give them. So everyday Ghanaians have been funding this. I think over the years we've been, and this is not to say we don't need money to run this thing. We need money for posters, we need money for our T-shirts, we need money for quite a lot of things, my travel and all that. But what I can say to you is that people have bought into this idea, and they've been funding it. Sometimes people might not even give you money. I've had an old 80-year-old lady, and I like this example because it goes to show the tech. I've got a 70-year-old lady who called up one of our team members and said, "Can I have the PDF or whatever version of the poster?" We sent it to her son or whoever got it. And this old lady marched into a print company and printed about 2,000 cities worth of posters and sent it to the village. And that's a very typical example of what people would do on a regular basis. And Ghanaians are doing this in whichever way they can, and we are grateful to every Ghanaian who has been part of making this happen. And I still encourage those who haven't to be a part of this because this time around, it is not about somebody coming to give you money and saying, here's 1,000 Ghana cities, here's 2,000 Ghana cities, and then you sell your vote, and then at the end of that, the next 4 years, they don't care about you. That's not what we're doing with this. What we're doing with this is also a revolution in itself. We want Ghanaians to see themselves as part of the deciders. They control the process, and that's exactly what we're letting them do.
Okay. Mr. Ghani, one thing, corruption is a very, very big problem, even in Africa as a whole. Now, can you tell me how you can fight corruption? And a typical scenario will be, how will you deal with a situation when one of your cabinet ministers is involved in corruption?
That's pretty much the easiest thing to do. I tell you why. Because anybody who has been working with me for the last 1 year, between 0 months and 1 year, will tell you that, some even call me a head now. Some call me Pharaoh because I'm very, very drastic when it comes to this thing.
Okay.
But the reality is that if we can't be drastic at this level, we cannot be drastic in office. Integrity is very crucial to me, and I've said often again, and this is proof from the work I have done. I am an auditor, have always been an auditor, will always be an auditor. I believe that people, when they are corrupt in any way, should be punished at the very highest level. It is the only way you're going to send signals down that we are actually serious about corruption. Example you gave, in my cabinet. Obviously, by the time you get into my cabinet, it presupposes two things. Either that you are competent and you've been assessed as competent, that is why you've been brought onto the job, or that I know your competency personally. Now, if you are involved in corruption, Vicky, the first thing I'll do is to jail you, have you jailed. The second thing is to investigate and see how we can recover any assets you may have got for yourself. And the third thing I would do is probably just by virtue of humanity, I will come and visit you in jail. So let me just make this point quite bluntly and quite honestly that if you steal in my government money, you will not go for free. If you have been involved in any form of corruption, you will be punished. And every tax belongs to the state will be recovered. That's not the only way we're dealing with corruption, by the way. But that is the first and foremost, is that the law must be seen to work. People say, justice, the will to justice grind slowly. But I say to people, it is human beings who push those wheels. And so if people need to be punished, then they obviously need to be punished. That's what I have. Vicky, let me just quickly say, and sometimes when I talk about this, people feel that is the only way we want to deal with corruption. That isn't the only way. There are three more we want to deal with corruption. One is that we do want a public system publishing the names of a database of people who have been involved in corruption and who have been involved in sexual violence of any form or nature. That database is going to be open to the public, is going to be openly accessible. The reason we are doing this is one, that it serves as a deterrent, but two, if you were to pop down to Ghana right now, you were setting up a company and you are going to employ maybe a director of operation, you would want to know whether this guy has a clean background. And so all it would take is for you to enter the name of that person in the database and a few more details. And if that person is clean, you can see that you are employing somebody who has a level of integrity. And that is one thing. We also want to separate the policy duties of the Bank of Ghana, its supervisory duties. So separate the prudential and the fiduciary duties of the National Bank, because we currently just gone by had a whole almost meltdown, and nobody's asking the question why that the Bank of Ghana, which was required to be supervised institution so that we don't even get to this point, we've seen anything happen or that this were prevented. So we do need to separate that so that some independency comes into that process. And finally, we do want to properly build affordable houses, which would dissuade people from getting corrupt within the public sector, especially because, if you're getting to 50, 60 years and you don't have a place you can call your own home, suddenly you start to get motivated to steal and put something aside for your old age before you get on retirement. And that needs to stop.
Good. Mr. Gane, I know you are an accountant. Now, someone might be asking, just all of a sudden, a couple of months ago, I've seen this lovely gentleman campaigning as independent presidential aspirant. Now, they might be thinking, what experience has Mr. Gane got?
that is no question at all. Let me just say that when I chartered as an accountant, I'd already been working before I chartered anyway in Ghana, and I chartered in Ghana. Most people think I went abroad to get chartered. No, I actually chartered in Ghana. One of the few people in Ghana to charter within a 3-year period. When I chartered in Ghana, I audited quite a lot of organizations, did a lot of consultancy work in Ghana. Some for government, some for international organizations that were in Ghana, some for private sector. So I have worked cutting across all the various sectors within society you can think about. I used to audit some of the biggest banks in Ghana, like the National Bank, like the National Investment Bank, of course not alone, but as a team. And one of the things it taught me was that, first of all, it got me around the entire country. And so if anybody has any doubt whether I've been in the country, let those doubts be settled. It got me to go around the country. It got me to understand how the financial sector works within Ghana. But more so, it also understand how businesses function within Ghana. I have been part of the UNHCR program to carry out the study for pretty much all the hospitals in Ghana. What that also did for me was that it gave me an opportunity to understand what works within this country, because it got me to travel again around the entire country, understanding the money systems within our health sector, the financial systems within our health systems, even the day-to-day operational systems within our health sector. So I do have a very thorough understanding of the waste. Let me just put it at that and let that happens within even the health sector. And I, then to prove that. Then we talk about my work as a consultant, even here in Ghana before I went abroad. I was actually one of the lead teams to actually do a feasibility study on the what is it called at the time? It was called the tomato factory. I'm trying to remember the name up north. Um, and that automatically gave me an idea into the whole um, farm value chain, sorry, agricultural value chain. I audited I think it's the Benzo palm oil plantation, for example, COPC,
Okay.
if I remember very correctly. Also gave me an understanding of the value chain within plantation agriculture.
Okay.
Um, our firm was audited, but for example, that gave me also further insight into the whole value chain around cocoa. So, there's a lot we have done. Now, even in my last job, which was outside of this country, I was still involved in delivering training in public financial management for people within the public sector, some of whom actually still the public sector in
Okay.
Ghana.
All
So,
right.
I have quite a
Mr.
wide range
Gani,
of experience in terms of billing
word is on,
at
yeah.
this level.
Mr. Gani, I watched your debate, and really I was very impressed with you. But
Thank you.
one thing, I remember you were part of a coalition with other independent presidential candidates, but I realized that you left. You weren't part of the coalition anymore. What happened? Did you
Well,
boycott it?
Vicky, this is something I have tried very much not to continue to talk about, especially after our press release was issued. And I
Okay.
think we have said that. But since you've raised it, let me just say that for me, we got to a point where I felt, Ghanaians um, put themselves forward to watch that debate to make a choice. Ghanaians stayed up late to vote on those debates to also make their choices known. And so, if we got to a point where the issue was no more about what Ghanaians were saying, but what a group of people just wanted to do, I felt it questioned my integrity, and that is the thing I have offered to give to Ghanaians. But I also felt that if at this level we cannot deliver a free and a fair election amongst five candidates, I have doubt how such people will be able to deliver such at
Mm.
the national. Um, and in preserving the integrity I promised Ghanaians, we had to
Mm.
live as a group, as a team. It hasn't changed anything we're doing.
Okay.
We've still been forceful as we were from day one, even before we joined the coalition. So, as far as we are concerned as an organization going forward in the interest of Ghana, nothing really has changed.
All right. Okay. Right. Mr. Gani, what message do you have for the diaspora community as most of the money is here? And if people can support you?
I'm saying to the diaspora, look, you may not have the chance to be here and vote. And the only way you can really make your impact felt is by supporting what we are doing. Support us with funding, support us with uh, anything you can. Call your family here, use your family here. Know that something does need to change. Mr. Gan is the person who seems to have a clear cut view of where we need to position as a country. And so let's support it. This can be done and it must be done. We don't have another 27 years to waste. I'm open and say, you know what? Let's keep our faith in God. God Himself wants this. And what I want to say to diasporans is that I have been in the diaspora before. I know what it feels like. On the one hand, your heart tells you you need to go back to Ghana, but your brain is telling you, if you're not well sorted out, don't go back. What we want to create as a society is that we want to create a Ghana that gives you the best of both worlds. So that you don't want to be coming back to Ghana thinking that just by coming back, you are losing everything you've worked for outside. That needs to shift. And me as a diaspora, I can tell you that is something I'm hugely passionate about. So I want to say to people in the diaspora, if you have to I'm doing what my team and I are doing, please, all the support you can go to our website, www.gan4, the number 4 Ghana, or gan4ghana.com, and throw your weight behind. Let's make it, because look, Vicky, when I went into the UK, I never got a first job. I worked as a cleaner. I worked as a construction. My favorite of them was that I worked as a security guard. And on no occasion did I feel that any of those works were below me, because in the UK you could do those works, earn a decent living, still be able to afford one pint of beer over your weekend, have a decent roof over your head, and get grocery and shop and live normally. That's the kind of environment we want to create, so that everybody can find something decent recently as the people. So that's my message to the diaspora, if you're hearing.
Mr. Gane, because of time, you made mention of people in the diaspora because they are not able to come to Ghana to vote. If you become president December 2020, what are you going to do to ensure that Ghanaians in the diaspora can also vote?
Oh, well, it's already in I mean, ROPA has, I think there is actually an order for ROPA to be implemented. What has done is that the government is dragging its feet in terms of logistics and all that. And I think the real reason is that, the government of the day knows that people in the diaspora are not happy with their performance. And if they are given the chance to vote, they will vote massively against the government of the day. And that's the only reason why there is a delay. I want to make it.
Right. Okay. All right. Mr. Gane, what is the message for the youth of Ghana, as you believe this is more about their future? What message do you have for the youth?
A very simple message. Any youth hearing me, I mean, most of them know that, this drive is large. I believe in the youth. We are the only resource this country currently has if we're going to make major change. And so I am saying to the youth, what we're doing today, what the Ghana for Ghana agenda is doing, it's about you. You need to support this agenda, because we simply want to invest in yourselves and invest in your future. So anything in our manifesto will tell you, turn to any page at all in our manifesto, to everything I've been saying this last number of months, you will hear one message and one message only. You are the future, and we need to invest in you to possess this country properly. So get back what we're doing, and let's make this happen.
Right. My final question to you is, Mr. Gane, someone might be watching us. The person is fed up with what is happening between NDC, MPP, the two major big parties in Ghana. NDC came on, we all saw what they did. MPP are in power, we all saw what they are doing. Someone watching you right now is saying, I really need a change. I'm fed up with these two major parties running the country. What have you got to tell such a person watching you, for that person to vote for Mr. Marricke Gane?
I will say to such a person that, look, you're looking for a choice. Choice. There is no other choice in this 2020 December election. I am that choice between away from the NDC, away from the NPP. I am the voice of the future. I am the voice of one who is saying, you know what, let's build a Ghana that works for all of us, not just a few people, not just a few friends, not just a few family members. And so looking for for something other than the NDC and the NPP, Gane is your man. If you're looking for a future where you know that when you put in effort A in this country, you will get result B out, I am your president. If you're looking for a country where there is no vindictiveness simply because you believe in the other than the other, I am your president. If you're a young person, you believe in that when you work out your way in school and you come out, you can get a job, you will find a job within the first one of getting out of school. I am your president. So I am saying to Ghanaians, if you want a Ghana that works for all of us, Ghana is
Wonderful. Mr. Gane, thank you so much for being with us on Heritage TV. We hope, because I've got so many questions to ask you, but it looks like the time, and you have to also go to another interview. So I'll have to leave you here, but please promise us that you will come back and for us to continue with the rest of the questions that we have for you. So I wish you all the best, Mr. Gane, and
thank
hopefully
you,
we'll see you again.
for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you are, Ghana election 2020. Our first guest was Mr. Marricke Gane, an independent presidential candidate. If you know you are fed up with the two major political parties and you want a change, we have so many independent presidential candidates vying for the presidency, and one of them is Mr. Kofi Gane, who we've interviewed today. If you want to support him, you can follow all his social media handles. Get in touch with his team if you want to support his campaign. Thank you so much for your time, and I believe that you join me again another time for us to talk more on Ghana election 2020. Stay safe and take care.